Our journey took us steering through the breathtaking lands of Canyon shaded by jeep, and then, deep within the Hopi reservation, we encountered our true master of Hopi weaving, Martin Gashwesoma. To this day, the men of the Hopi tribe keep the tradition alive, weaving on upright looms. This is the meaning of the Hopi people and the meaning woven into every thread. These textiles were never made for tourists. They were woven for ceremony. This is a souvenir shop located on the reservation. Unfortunately, Martin passed away. What does his loss mean for the future of Hopi textiles? Hello, I am Masako Hamada. The title of this video is The History and Textile Culture of Native Americans, the Pueblo people. Chapter 1, Historical Background of the Pueblo people. The cultural regions the Native Americans formed are classified into 10 distinct areas: Southeastern, Northeastern, Great Plains, Southwestern, Great Basin, Plateau, California, Northwest Coast, Arctic, and Subarctic regions. The Spanish brought their religions and ships to the Pueblo villages in the southwestern cultural region. In this study, we will refer to the Pueblo people living in the Rio Grande River Basin, Mother New Mexico Pueblo, and those living in Arizona as a Hopi. Our investigation into Hopi textiles took us to the Hopi reservation, which is entirely encircled by Navajo lands. Around 1540, Spanish explorers led by Colorado invaded the Pueblo territories, bringing the Spanish influence into the region. Decades later, in 1581, the explorer Espejo reported collecting over 1,400 pieces of cotton cloth from the Hopi tribe. However, the demand did not stop there. In addition to taking blankets, clothing, and food, the Spanish imposed heavy taxes once the Native Americans were forced to submit to the crown. Ultimately, these exactions became increasingly severe and oppressive for the Native communities. The communities we are talking about bring together 90 sovereign tribes from across New Mexico, along with the Hopi people living in northeastern Arizona. To make our journey through this research easier to follow, we will group them like this. When I refer to the Pueblo people of the Rio Grande Basin, I will call them the New Mexico Pueblo, and for the Pueblo people residing in Arizona, we will simply refer to them as the Hopi. traversing the boundless desolation of the Navajo Nation by jeep. Our driver is Santa Fe local Satori Murata. Dominating the horizon is Monument Valley, the ultimate icon of the American West. This legendary landscape was immortalized in classic westerns like Stagecoach and Photo Apache. Ancient ruins of the Navajo Nation, the ancestral homes of today's Pueblo people. Picture here is Canyon Shade. Its Navajo name is Sejiito, meaning large canyon between the rocks, with shade being a Spanish twist on Tegi. A center stream, lush green riverbanks, and towering red cliffs. Historically, this valley was the final sanctuary for the Navajo, fleeing Spanish and U.S. forces. Rivered as a mother's womb, this flattering canyons still yields harvest of beans, melons, squash, and peaches today. Chapter 2. Why did I visit the Hopi Reservation? On the left is a pedal-operated loom introduced by the Spanish. It can weave white pieces of fabric. Around 1,100 vertical looms were developed, and fabric began to be woven using cotton and other plant fibers. On the right is a photograph of a Pueblo man weaving fabric on a vertical loom. Why did I visit the Hopi Reservation? It would be called the descriptions in Kate Beckett's book failed to form a clear mental picture. Technical terms like single continuous verb and lofty insertion created only a confusing maze in my mind. I couldn't imagine how it all worked together, nor could I visualize such a root thread count with so few threads per inch. But the moment I saw a weaver firsthand during a workshop, manipulating the threads on the loom, everything clicked. The tension of the single thread, the angle of the lofty insertion, the deliberate looseness, the difficult text transformed instantly into a vivid experience. It was a true revelation. This profound experience, this epiphany, and all the elements you see before you are what truly drove my journey. Chapter 4. Modern Hopi Weaving Culture. This is an embroidered Pueblo Indian manta. Many mantas of this type were made in the 1920s and 30s from the collection of the University of Arizona Museum. This is a manta which is enlarged. Modern master weaver Martin Gashwesoma was a revered Hopi elder and keeper of the prophecy. He carried a vital message from the ancient Hopi wisdom to the world stage. Martin addressed the United Nations, urging humanity to heal its relationship with the earth, and powerful appeal translated into 7 languages. At a shop on the Hopi reservation, introduced to a Hopi weaver, the unique shop is run by a Hopi wife and her husband, selling katina dolls and ceremonial textiles. They politely refused to sell the textiles to me, explaining these are Hopi use, not for tourists. It became clear Hopi textiles are not created for commerce. They are woven only for ceremony and for the Hopi people themselves. Seeking the best weaver, we visited Martin Gashwesoma. He agreed to help with our research, but requested no facial photos be published. He led us outside to his room, a simple iron pipe frame standing beside our wood pile where he set to work, meticulously woven with hard tightly Spaniard. His textiles were beautiful and elegant. He showed us his latest piece, carefully explaining the meaning of its patterns. Next, we have a men's sash belt, woven in just 1 month for the August Hopi butterfly dance, priced at $600. The intricate patterns you see here actually tell the story of a human life. Notice it is a tail. Red is woven because the purple sash requires different borders. The outer pattern that we represent the lively active stage of early life. However, life inevitably brings turmoil. When things become crazy, big-hearted periods help purify our past, symbolized by the blue bands at sea, which lead towards eternal life. The red diamonds at D represent law, meaning the fundamental rules of nature that govern our existence. The shapes at D depict an elder, purified by life, walking with 2 long canes, having finally reached a state where their wishes are fulfilled. You can also spot his red mountain-shaped trademark at the upper edge, marked F. Interestingly, men's sashes are traditionally made 1 inch wider than those for women. You might be surprised by the materials used today. While these textiles were traditionally made from hand-spun cotton and plant-based dyes, modern weavers now use commercial acrylic yarns in bright yellows, blues, reds, greens, and whites, which they simply buy at places like Walmart. They have also transitioned to modern chemical dyes. This is the Hopi men's belt. back. You might be surprised by the materials used today. While these textiles were traditionally made from hand-spun cotton and plant-based dyes, modern weavers now use commercial acrylic yarns in bright yellows, blues, reds, greens, and whites, which they simply buy at places like Walmart. They have also transitioned to modern chemical dyes. But here is a fascinating part. Where the physical materials have modern dyes, the texture itself remains unbroken. The deep meanings of the patterns and the specific color tones are exactly as they were. The designs for these belts and kilts have remained completely unchanged since the 19th century. Fifth chapter, Conclusion. Our journey brought us the profound realization that the second method, a shopkeeper shows us ceremonial textiles but would not let us buy them. Why? Because Hopi ceremonies belong to the Hopi alone. The textiles are woven for their people, not for tourists. To the traditional weavers, these items are simply not for sale. This deep divide between commercial progressive and strict traditionalist is a conflict that will undoubtedly persist. But there is a more threatening threat. As the younger generation adopt English education and outside the religion, the traditionalist population is shrinking. The beautiful ancient designs remain unchanged, yet the hands to weave them are disappearing. At this rate, most textiles and sacred ceremonies they support could be lost forever. To save the art of Hopi weaving, the most urgent priority must be preserving the traditionalist spirit itself. Thank you for your time and attention. If you find this lecture valuable, please consider giving it a thumbs up and subscribing to our channel. Join us in the next episode of the American Fashion History Lecture Series 70. Our journey continues with the history and the clothing culture of Native Americans, the Navajo. We will finally review the master weavers we met and dive deep into their incredible textile traditions.